Thank you for joining me today, Novi. My name is Nicole Granston, and I'm here for Black Film and TV. And we're going to jump right in. And I have a really good question for you based on something that I saw you wrote on social media recently. You said investing in yourself is not always easy, pleasurable, cheap, or comfortable, but it is necessary if you're trying to see yourself in full form in this lifetime. Can you tell me, what has Novi Brown done to invest in herself to get her to the point where she is now starring on Tyler Perry's hit show, Sistas?
Thank you, Nicole, for having me. I'm really excited. What have I invested? Woo! What haven't I invested? I invested my time, my freedom, my ability to even get a bra that doesn't have a hole in it. Sometimes my love life, my family life. I've invested a lot. I mean, any person in the world who is putting a lot of time in something outside of themselves and taking care of themselves is investing a lot into and going to be losing something. So as an artist, you're sacrificing now, especially my privacy. You know, I'm sacrificing a lot of my time because I'm having to work with a lot of different people. So I'm trying to figure out all the management part of that. But really for me, it was about being for my mom. I think that was the biggest sacrifice that I had to make because me and my mother are like best friends. I really, really love my mom. She's been my biggest supporter. And when you're close to somebody in life, anybody can attest to this, you know, whether it's your child or your partner, that it's hard to separate yourself from them because you have to do a lot of things differently. Like you can't even talk to them as much. I literally moved away to a whole different coast. So being an artist requires your ego to be sacrificed because you get rejected a lot. It requires a lot of patience because it's not about you. You are probably the last person to be picked for the project anyway. So yeah, there's just a lot of elements to it. It's a very spiritual and emotional journey, but I'm very happy to be here.
That is great to hear. We are on season 4 of Sistas, and I know you guys have probably gotten extremely close now, and you just want to talk a little bit about your relationship with the rest of the cast, KJ, Ebony, Mignon. Like, how is it working with, you know, 3 other phenomenal Black women?
Like, I'm so blessed because my dream has always been to work, first of all, with a lot of people of color, and then especially women, and then I have both on the show. And it's all of our first time. So it's a magic and a chemistry that I could have never asked for because I was hired about 4 days before the first day of production. So I didn't get to meet all the girls, but everybody was, you know, we were hired within, I think, a month and a half before the project started. So we've just been building our relationship because we've done the first season together. Then we did quarantine together. We were like the first show to go back really during quarantine. So just the resilience, the endurance, the passion that these ladies have shown, the perseverance, just the way that we're able to transform ourselves. It's just magical. And it makes me emotional thinking about it because we're really growing up doing this together. So I'm just so grateful that I have them.
That's great to hear. I know Tyler Perry Studios was in the news because I do remember during COVID how he was the first to start filming again. And how was that? I know you guys came and sort of, you tested, you were sort of in your own little bubble. Was it easy filming, you know, during COVID? I don't think a lot of people understand what people had to go through during that time and how media was affected.
There's so many levels to it. So many people cast, but crew alike. There's so many crew members, you know, because the cast, there's a lot of us, but there's even way more crew members from lighting to PA to sound. There's just so many people involved. So many people have families. So everybody was putting their lives on the line because nobody knew what was going on at the time, you know, and nobody knew if we were safe or not. So then that coupled with the innovation that Tyler Perry Studios has with just the overly making sure that we were safe and we were clean and all of these other things. So all of those elements were very difficult and nuanced to deal with. And then on top of that, you're an artist, right? So we could not rehearse next to each other. We could not really be physically together like that. So there was a lot of FaceTime rehearsals, a lot of drop calls, a lot of, what'd you say? Huh? Oh, okay. You know? So it was a lot of struggle moments for us, but you can't really tell. How you can tell though is with the lack of customers, which we get dragged by all the time. But I was like, that was during COVID. All right, give us a break. But you can't really see it in our acting work or even in our chemistry. So again, that just shows you the magic that's created here on the show.
Very true. I don't think I could tell, except yes, about the customers. And I know before you got on the show, I mean, everybody's heard of Tyler Perry, but what can you tell us that maybe surprised you the most working with him or working with
He's
him?
hilarious. He is hilarious, y'all. Like he is, y'all, like listen, this man knows how to dance and he's hilarious. Because I feel like as much as he works, he knows how to have fun. He really pours into a lot of his cast and his crew. He makes sure that a lot of people have been working there for a really, really long time. I've heard many stories about how people have transitioned from different positions there. So he's just a really, really funny person. He makes a lot of jokes with us. We get to laugh on set, but we work hard, we play hard. And yeah, he's just a guy who cares. He cares about what we want to do. He cares about where we want to go with our lives. And obviously doing that production during COVID showed how much faith he had in us. He called us first to make sure if we were even cool with it, you know, obviously making personal calls to as many cast and crew members as possible. And all the people that showed up for him was just a reflection of his character.
That's good to hear. So let's talk a little bit about Sabrina and Calvin. You guys have been through a lot. I mean, you were there with him when his father passed, and I know people are sort of wondering, is there a future? Isn't there? We see with this season that you have sort of rekindled and worked out a little bit of kinks, and you've recently been out on a date that was had an interesting interruption. But where would you like to see Calvin and Sabrina go?
You know, thank you for asking. I'm down for whatever. I feel like my mind changes a lot, just like Sabrina. Some seasons I'm like, yeah, put them together. And I'm like, no, hold on, she's still single. Like she could be out there, you know? So I just want her to be happy. I want to continue going with whatever she wants. I feel like Calvin definitely pushes her to open her own narrative, you know, and that's what love is supposed to do. Love is supposed to open you up to another level. I try to tell people, even when you get your heart broken, it's really not broken, it's expanded. You are able to love more now. So the love that you had is not able to fill that space anymore. You need to do something for it. So with Calvin, it just is really this new kind of conversation that she's having with what does love look like for you? How vulnerable can you be? And who do you want to show up as in your personal relationships? So I really, really enjoy that. And that's why I'm always rooting for Calvin, because he definitely opens up her mind. I feel like the bio thing is still interesting because at the end of the day, facts is she's still single.
Very true, very true. So it's a possible anybody really could have another love interest on the show. Yes. And I want to ask, is Novi similar to any of the characters, the main characters on the show, or is she completely?
Oh my gosh. I was just talking about this. Like, I'm not similar exactly to anybody, but I'm bits and pieces of these women. That's what I love about our show. I feel like there's different evolutions of who you are, you know, and as a human being. So I really love it because it's just like any other living single, girlfriends, right? A different world, Sex in the City. You can see pieces of yourself in these people. Sabrina has so much heart, and I definitely am that way. I'm a nurturer. I'm a person who will fight for their family and always make sure they're good. But I am straightforward and cutthroat like Danny. I will give it to you raw, okay? Period.
Right.
And but with Andy, like I just want to be loved too. I get it. Like I want to just, you know, I want the same thing. But for team, I don't play no games. Don't come over here with all that stuff, right? But with Karen is, I'm hurt, I'm vulnerable. And when I'm angry, sometimes my anger comes out in different ways and it's still a beautiful thing, but I'm still on my P's and Q's as a businesswoman, you know? So there's so many different elements that I can see myself in these women. And that's why I love the show, because again, it just makes you open up your lens and see Black women from more perspectives than just the one or two that we've been conditioned to hear.
Very true. I think you hit it on the nose when you said that you see the evolution of yourself. And I think a lot of women probably watching this remembers when they were like each of the characters at different stages of their lives. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. And recently, I don't know if you're aware of the campaign that Twitter released called "If You Dream It, Tweet It," and they featured a lot of celebrities who had tweeted from years in the past, and all of their tweets came to fruition. For instance, Matthew Cherry tweeted in 2012 about winning an Oscar, and then he won for the animated short about hair. So if you were to tweet, if you dream it, tweet it, what would yours be?
Wow. Okay, mine would be to have an EGOT.
Ah, okay.
That would be mine. Mine would be to have an EGOT, and that's very difficult to achieve, but I that's what I would want, and I believe in that. I totally believe in writing it down and then seeing it come to true, like that happened.
Well, I'm going to be paying attention because I believe that you can achieve that.
Thank you.
I know that you have another passion project that is coming up. So if you want to just touch on that for a bit before we have to depart and let people know so they can tune in as well.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It's called Conversation and Constellations for all my people who are into astrology. If you're not, that's fine. You can be curious too and come on down. And it's just me talking about my love for astrology with different people who are into it and who aren't, but just to see how the world kind of influences our behavior and the choices that we can make with the energies that we're given, aka our superpowers.
Well, Novi, it has been a pleasure chatting with you today. I look forward to seeing all the things that you do in the future and look forward to watching Sistas tonight on BET.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Bye, y'all.
Bye.